Now, when we substitute in that 56 for p of n, we have 56 equals 7n cubed, and that's 7 times n cubed. So can someone tell me, you can unmute yourself, what would be your first step to solve this equation? How do we get rid of that 7? Will we add the 7, subtract the 7, multiply by 7, or divide by 7? Okay, make sure you're participating in order to be counted as present. So we have to get rid of that 7. How do we do that?
Divide on both sides.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to divide 7 on both sides. And that's going to cancel out that 7 and leave me with 8 equals n cubed. So now we need to figure out which one of these options can we multiply to the power of 3 to get 8. So it's 8 times 8 times 8 equal to 8. 7 times 7 times 7 equal to 8. 8 thirds times 8 thirds times 8 thirds equal to 8. Or 2 times 2 times 2 equal to 8. So which one would you choose? Anybody?
2.
2. Good job. Because we know that 8 is the same as 2 to the power of 3. All right, so now let's go to our notes. And we're only going to do a short introduction today. Tomorrow we'll finish our notes over square roots. And we will get ready for our first test of the year, which will be next week on Tuesday. So go ahead and go to page 15 in your notes, and we're talking about radical equations. So I'll give you a couple minutes to get that out. So we've talked about two different radicals so far. We've talked about a square root and we've talked about a cube root. So whenever you're solving a radical equation, that means you have a variable underneath a radical, which is our roof. This is what a radical looks like. So we can have a square root, or we can have a 3 in the elbow, and that's called a cube root. So when we have a variable or a letter underneath there, that is a radical equation. Now, whenever we're solving a radical equation, our very first step is always to isolate, which means we have to move everything over so that there's nothing except for that radical. And then we're going to eliminate the radical by raising it to a power. So if it's a square root, we're going to raise both sides to a power of 2. And if it's a cube root, we're going to raise it to a power of 3. And then we solve our equation, and whenever we have a square root, we have to check it. So can you write in your notes? We check when it's a square root. Which that might be kind of hard to see. Let me go ahead and move that up a little bit. There we go. So when it's a square root, we're going to do a check. Jaden. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this first example. So we have, again, we have a variable underneath the radical, and this is a square root because there's not a number there. So this is a square root equation. So the first thing we need to do, because there isn't any, the only number in front is a 1, and there isn't, the only number behind it is invisible, is a 0. So this is already by itself. There isn't anything on the left side of this equation except for this square root. So we're going to start by raising both sides to the power of 2 because it's a square root. And when we do that, what that will do on the left is raise the roof. It's going to make this go away, no square root. So we have 2x minus 5 equals 3 to the power of 2. So can somebody unmute your microphone and tell me what is 3 to the power of 2?
Nine.
9. Good job. So we have 2x minus 5 equals 9. So from here, we're just going to do the opposite. So the opposite of subtracting 5 from both sides would be to add 5. So we're going to add the 5, which is going to cancel that out and leave me with 2x equals 9 plus 5, which is 14. And then to get rid of that 2, which is being multiplied by the x, we're going to divide both sides by 2. So our possible answer is x equals 7. And the reason why I say it's possible is because we have to do a check to make sure that this number is actually valid. So let's go ahead and substitute that in. So in my original equation, we have the square root of 2 times x minus 5, and there's a 7, and that equals 3. So I need somebody to tell me, somebody new, so you can get counted as present. Tell me, what is this number? What is 2 times 7 minus 5? You need it for your iPhone?
My earpods.
So what is 2 times 7 minus 5? 9, good. And when we take the square root of 9, we get 3. Now we know that the square root of 9 could be plus or minus, but we're focusing on the principal, which is the positive. So because when we substituted in the 7, we actually got an equation that was true, that tells me that x equals 7 is an actual solution that we can keep. All right, so that's all for today. I'm going to finish class a little early to give you all a chance to finish both of the e-learning assignments from last week. There were 2, one on Wednesday and one from Thursday. That was worth a total of 20 points. Please make sure you have both of those submitted. Tomorrow we will finish working through our equations for square roots, and get ready for our test, which is coming up next Tuesday. Have a good day.